Hey there, I'm Eric Doggett, and this is Photog TV, Episode 3 for Thursday, October 13th, 2011, Client Relations. We talk about working with clients, some client horror stories, and we get a little input on what it's like to be a commercial photographer.
So, did we want to go ahead and start the news portion, Eric?
Yeah, so what we thought we would do this week is start with a little bit of news first, and just stories that Dustin and I have found kind of looking around, and then kind of get your input on them and see what you think. So, has anyone seen Adobe? And I mentioned this on Google Plus recently. They did they have like that Max convention or conference, and they showed this technology for fixing a blurred image. Have any of you guys seen that? Hey, Douglas, how's it going, man?
Good.
Yeah,
Whoa, weird. Can't see anybody. Now I can. Sweet, I hadn't done this yet.
Awesome. This is Douglas Saunders. He's a good friend of mine from DC. Great commercial photographer.
Welcome, Douglas.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're talking news first. So Adobe came out with this technology that they showed that they can take an image that's blurred and basically correct it. And I'm going to post this link in the chat area just for you guys to check out at some point. And it's also on my Google Plus page.
Oh,
but
cool.
if you jump in there like
job.
What's that?
Sorry, my business partner was walking by. His friend asked a question.
When you watch that video at some point, it's like around a minute or so into it, you can watch, and like the crowd just has like this big gasp because they take this image of a big area that's like totally out of focus, and it runs some algorithms and then fixes it. So that was something cool to check out.
Awesome.
Have you guys who's anybody out there upgraded to the new iOS for you iPhone users?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Have you done the follow your friends yet?
I have not done the follow your friends thing yet.
Eric's kind of paranoid about geolocation.
I'm only paranoid. Well, I am paranoid about anything that defaults to having it on, which I noticed after upgrading. I went through the list of like who can use location services, and I was like, you got to be kidding! No. And I left some on, but yeah, the camera is. I could tell some changes have been happening over on the camera, because it actually is a little bit, for me, it's a little bit faster to pop open.
It is. It is for me as well, my 4.
Yeah.
And I also like that you can use the plus button to take the picture now.
That's nice. That is a very welcome feature.
So I can do my duck face MySpace photos whenever, and with much more ease. And also, if you, I don't know if you guys knew this, if people, I don't want people to see like my naked photos I take with my dog, and I'm at a party.
Wow.
So you, well, don't we all?
Yeah.
You can actually, so use your iPhone, you can double click the menu page. Mine's a little weak here. Double click it, and there you go. There's actually the camera button right there on the main screen.
Yeah.
So if you double click from the lock on the menu button right there, and then I'm using the plus sign to take a picture. There we are. And then look at this.
Finger.
So when I push the button to look at the photos, there's only the photos that you just took. So if you have a whole pictures of your girlfriend on there or whatever, your adventure in Vegas or something, they won't see that. Only, so if you want to hand somebody your photo, your camera, and whatever, and have them take a picture, and they want to see, oh, let's see this picture. They only see the pictures they just took from the lock screen, as opposed to
That's cool.
Me drunk on a floor in Vegas. So
But we love those
allegedly.
pictures.
So
It was interesting when they added that feature as far as pushing the volume button, because I don't know if you guys remember, there's a really popular app called Camera Plus, which is done by Lisa Bettany and her team, and I believe they were the ones who did that first, or at least got the most press for doing that, and Apple kicked them out of the store for having that feature, and so they had to take that out, and it was the usual Apple line of confuses the user as to the functionality and all that kind of stuff.
Don't they have editing built in, anti-red eye and stuff with the new updated The updated OS 5.
They have I think they have a feature for doing like an enhance, like an auto enhance thing. I'm going through here to see. There's an edit button, and when you click the edit button up here, upper right.
I love this screen capture technology. It's so sophisticated.
That's it. Look at that. That's perfect. You get some options down here at the bottom, and one of them looks like to be a auto enhance feature, and yeah, there is a little anti-red eye button. So you tap the eyes, and it clears that up. I did have also a chance to play around with the whole iCloud thing. So I've got that going between this and my iPad. So it was really cool. You take a picture on here, and then it's like 30 seconds later or less, it's on the iPad, which is kind of a cool way to move photos around, especially if you want to edit them on a bigger screen using Snapseed like Nick has or something like that.
Cool. Sorry, I'm totally...
I want to do this. Hold on. I just want to... Can I just...
What is that? What are you doing?
Make it rain Benjamins?
Can I just make it rain? I just did a charity event last night, so this is like a bunch of... It was just a bunch of small bills, but it was sitting by my desk, and I just wanted to be able to just do that. Like this.
He's going out again tonight with that bunch of small bills. Just
there you go. Look at that.
Is it dollar dance night? Is that what's going on?
Yes, it is. It's gonna be Montana all over again. It's all going to the Gulf Coast charity.
Her name was Charity.
Her name was Charity.
Some great places in the Gulf Coast, but
that's cool.
This is cool. How many regular hangouts are you doing now?
This is number 3, so we do them every Thursday at 12 o'clock Central, and it's totally random. It's like whoever jumps in, which is kind of like I'm a little nervous about that because I can't actually kick anybody out.
Oh,
so I could get Dustin standing up pulling off a shirt right now, and I would not be able to stop it.
It's not gonna happen.
Who's the guy right here that looks like you're in a Best Buy? Right here, Ernesto. Where are you, Ernesto?
I'm inside the coffee shop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm in the campus coffee shop. Mm-hmm. All right.
Welcome. Sorry, Eric. I'm like totally hijacking.
No, man, no problem. It happens pretty often. Actually,
it's called crowdsourcing content. So we just let you guys come up with everything.
Let you guys come up and talk.
we do actually have kind of like topics that we try to cover, but as long as you guys keep babbling, it usually works out pretty well for us.
Guys, I want to find out: has anyone else upgraded their phones, or are they picking up a 4S tomorrow?
My 4S is coming in the mail tomorrow, so I'll have that. I'll get to play around with that. But
you can give us the review on that, whether that extra lens in the camera makes a difference or not.
The fifth element. It's the fifth element.
Fifth element.
They started listening to Luc Besson, so
that's cool.
What are they?
Yeah, I'm waiting on all the reviews and all that.
Yeah.
See, but just like with everything else, I just jump blindly into pretty much every situation presented to me.
And see, when the iPhone 4 came out, they had all the problems with like the dropped calls and all that. So
I fixed that. It's called switching to Verizon.
That works.
Well, they have a new menu. They have a new antenna system, right? So it's a dual antenna, so you won't actually have as many drop calls.
Yeah.
And what do they do with the front-facing camera? This little guy right here.
I think it's still there.
No, I know. Did they upgrade it?
I didn't hear about that.
I doubt it.
I didn't hear anything about it either.
It'd be nice if they made it larger megapixels, but I think it's primarily used for just taking headshots and video conferencing.
Of course, that's all my Facebook photos are taken with. Hold on.
They love the added grain.
I'm taking a picture of you guys here. Right here.
Are you in the shot? Get in the shot.
Yeah, I'm in the shot.
There we go. Good.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
Nice.
That could be our album art for the podcast tonight.
That's probably what it's going to be.
I'll email you to Eric.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, as far as like our scheduled topic today, and this was actually the scheduled topic we were going to talk about last week. Look at that. There goes the white balance on this.
I know, man. It's
camera.
like disco dogged over here.
If I slide out of the way, there. Now it's going to get warmer. I think the blue background was a mistake. But anyways,
that's why I go with gray.
I should go with we'll go with all gray and a gray shirt and a gray pants. We had scheduled last week to talk about client relations, and then with all of the Steve Jobs stuff, that ended up taking the whole hangout time. So we pushed it to this week, and what we were thinking was just spending some time to sharing and hearing about how you guys interact with clients and the challenges you run into, and it's kind of a topic that's universal across weddings and portraits and seniors and commercial, because everybody's we all got personalities we're dealing with. So what you got? What have you guys run into? What are some of the challenges?
Well, you guys start with some horror stories.
Yeah,
like start out with a horror story, and then we'll see, we'll compare ways that it was dealt with.
But aside from all the clients who want to pay me $50 just to do a wedding.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to start with.
Well, I did a wedding one time back when I was shooting a lot of weddings a couple years ago, where the bride totally flipped out at everybody. See, though, she wasn't. It didn't direct at me, so I was out of it. But she pretty much lit into everybody during the wedding. She called the people who were doing the wedding coordinator and her staff. She called them her slaves, which got them all worked up. Yeah,
nice.
Talk about Bridezilla.
Yeah, totally. That was the only Bridezilla I had.
Here, I'm gonna duck out for just a second. I'm plugging my computer before the battery dies.
Cool. What about you, Dustin? You had anything?
Actually, I've had more than my share this year. However, there was one that I can use as an example. I had a bride contact me, I guess back in January, for a wedding in June. It was kind of a last-minute thing, and it was a very small wedding, maybe like 30 people or so, and it was a small venue. You probably know Green Pastures here in Austin. Yeah. Kind of like a antique restaurant kind of place for everybody else. But the small venue, small wedding. It was a couple who had actually, been divorced, and now they're remarrying each other. They weren't divorced from each other before; they were married to other people. So there's, older couple, and really just wanted, coverage of, some portraits and, the wedding ceremony and all that stuff, and then mostly just candid shots, everybody hanging out and whatnot, because they wanted a discount. I said, that's fine. There's just a lot of things that we're not going to have in your package like we normally do, which is a second shooter and, a few other things. So I ended up shooting it solo, which was fine. I did exactly what I always do and, got all the coverage that I needed to get. However, after the photos went on their proofing site for them to check everything out, I got this email where she basically acted like she was livid, that there was a bunch of shots that I missed and I didn't get enough candid photos, and then the candid photos that I did get, everybody had weird expressions on their faces because they're in the middle of talking. And I mean, it was in this room upstairs in this, Victorian style house where the wallpaper inside was this navy blue, and the ceilings were kind of like, I don't even know what color it was. It was like some kind of weird painted color thing. It was the weirdest thing. But so I couldn't use any bounce flash either. It was all straight on. I couldn't use a strobe because the room was too small. So I mean, off and on, I mean, she acted like she didn't get as many photos as she thought she should have, and she also didn't get don't take this personally, Ernesto. I'm gonna mute you. Sorry. But the crazy thing was that she just ended up being the completely opposite bride from what she was like before. When we were booking. I mean, any of you guys ever had one of those passive-aggressive brides? I mean, I guess that's kind of a given across the board, But
see, what is that? Is that I mean, is that a breakdown in managing clients before the shoot or before the event, or is it a situation where we shouldn't have been matched up with them in the first place? And
me personally, my experience was I always, whenever I write about it on Impact Photo or talk to other photographers and stuff, I tell them client meetings, whether it's on the phone or in person, it's kind of like, going on a first date. You really have to, yeah, you want to attract them and get them to book you, but at the same time, you've got to be clearly representing who you are, because if you give them any sort of false pretenses, then when you resort back to your natural way of doing things, there's going to be some stuff that gets misconstrued. But it also goes both ways. I think there are a lot of brides out there that I've dealt with, and maybe some of you guys have too, where they act one way when they are trying to get what they want, like booking you for the wedding, but now that once they've got you, it's a completely different story. They have all these unmanageable expectations, and I've even had brides try to slip in like extra stuff or expectations, saying, "Yeah, so when do I get those Parents albums?" I'm like, "What Parents albums?" It wasn't even in the contract. Like, no. I remember you saying something about that in the thing. I was like, "Yeah, if you wanted to buy them,
yeah,
they're available."
Douglas, how does this work with you when you're because you do a lot of high profile shoots? What kind of expectations do you guys? What's the groundwork before the shoot and during it, and how do you kind of manage that through the whole process?
You mean delivering the client what they want?
Well, just even like before the shoot, it's like you're saying we're going to do a shoot. Here's where we're going to do it at. What they can expect from it. What's their attitude going into it in terms of what they're expecting they're going to get, and how do you manage it so that they're happy and they weren't looking for things you were never going to provide or weren't happy or whatever?
Usually the only big issue I've faced is when clients request more edits than they originally bargained for, and that usually only happens with when I do stuff with smaller indie artists. For example, I did something with an artist where I agreed I would do 10 final edits for them to use for packaging and for their website and whatever, and then she came back with 20 or 30 photos that she's like, "Yes, okay, please edit these," and I like her, she's a sweet girl. And I really want her to succeed, so I didn't complain, honestly. I was like, all right, that's cool, I'll help you out. I'll do that. For the most part, like, I just had a conference call yesterday with a pretty big music client and his manager on a conference call, and we just kind of went over, and I sent them inspiration for stuff I'd like to do for their new album, and they like that. Now we have to we establish a general vibe and what they need and write it down on the estimate. I use BlinkBid on the estimate before it's delivered. Thankfully, I don't have to deal much on the consumer end of things as opposed to a few independent artists. So I don't really deal with albums or print orders. I rarely deal with print orders. And if I deal with a print order, for example, it was one of my regular clients needed 1,000 autograph cards made. That's about as far, and that's a specialty thing. So thank God I don't really have to deal with that. And most of the expectations are I'm dealing on the commercial end of things. So I'm dealing with art directors and art buyers where, it's you already walk in the door knowing exactly what they want, what they need, and they know what they want. So I don't have to futz around. I feel like in the wedding and consumer side of things, it's a little more frustrating because these are people that are that just are so wishy-washy and don't know what they want. They'll just go nuts and request whatever, and they don't understand what it takes to deliver a final product and the time it goes to edit, or the expense on your end, or if I have to hire vendors, if I'm doing video and I need to hire somebody to do special lettering or graphics. The folks, non-creatives, like I said, the consumer side, you guys have it tougher for sure.
That's a good point, because on the wedding and portrait and family side, more often than not, you're dealing with clients that have not worked regularly with a photographer and don't know what's going into it, versus the commercial side where you're people that at least the people Douglas have been working with have probably done a lot of shoots prior to them working together. Do you find, like, Douglas, when you're doing these shoots with them, that you're getting feedback from them during the shoot, that you're showing in the images, and that helps kind of
absolutely
get them excited?
Yeah, mostly I'm usually on set, and the rare occasion I do event coverage, if I do event coverage or a family portrait, it's usually a special favor for a pre-existing corporate client or somebody that's led me a lot of business, and so I did an event this week. They just kind of trust me. I said, okay, what's the goal list? What do you want to accomplish? So it was for a helicopter manufacturing client, they were doing a big award ceremony that they get a lot of press for. It's something they do essentially for charity. And we go over the goal list before I walk in the door, saying, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want in the press release? And they may say, all we really need is a handshake. So they pay me all that money to be there, but in the end, all they need is somebody to, like, shake the hands here, for the photo, hold it in the plaque, and that's whatever. As for my my portrait work or my editorial or advertising, yes, coordinate. Certainly, sharing imagery while on set is helpful. I've done. I did some shoots for Time Magazine a while back, and my editor really liked to pre-scout. She couldn't come to all the shoots, so she liked to pre-scout the location. So I would actually take iPhone video of the location where I plan on doing it and send it to her, and then tell her exactly I plan to shoot it. And she would usually send me artistic influences. And on set, I don't like to tether, but I'll often show stuff on the back of a camera. Or on break, I'll show stuff. I'll upload it to my laptop or wherever location we are for review. If that's an over response.
I like that idea of scouting, and I do that a lot. And I would, even on the wedding side, I was doing that if it was someplace I hadn't been to before. Has anyone else out there gotten into scouting out locations ahead of time and had any experience with that improving their shots, or it all just falling apart when it comes time for the actual shoot?
Nobody at all.
Silence.
Just you.
Just me, I guess.
I've done a little bit of it here and there. My most recent thing was photographing for what do you call it? It's a group called Independence First. They're a disability advocacy group, and they needed some portraits done, and I was scouting locations for that. Unfortunately, they didn't have their models fell through, so the shoot never took place. But I got some ideas in mind for future shoots out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've even gotten to where I will, if I'm scouting out a place and for whatever reason it doesn't work out, I'll still catalog those locations and keep them in a Lightroom database or something like that. Some people get real crazy and go in there and keyword everything and say, show me all the green door signs on 6th Street and have it pop up with that. I don't get to that level, but it's good because I end up finding places later that I've forgotten that I had been to, and they work out good for shoots.
I want to make an interesting side note. There's an entirely different discussion going on the left side of the screen. I think it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's all about Lay's.
It's something about Lay's going on over here.
Yeah, man, John's got a box. Like, he went to Costco and got a box of potato chips, and he's totally holding out on us. It's lunchtime here, man.
Costco box. Did he show a picture of it?
Oh, sorry. I'm going to derail the conversation. I'm sorry. I'm just
gonna... No, it's fine. It's fine. We definitely need some laughter after the gripes and stuff.
Has anybody played with Snapseed?
No.
On
the iPad, I have. I like it. It's really
Snapseed
nice.
is awesome. Are you guys familiar with Nick Software?
Yes.
Yeah, they as you know, I have a strong relationship with them, and they sent me Snapseed early on to play with, and that's out. And essentially, it's like Viveza 2 for your iPhone or iPad. So you can do structure, you can do selective brightening. So I can actually do on this photo. I don't know if you guys can see this. I can actually tap this area right there, and then slide it, and then brighten that area like you would with control points on Viveza 2. I could do saturation changes, contrast, tonality, add frames. It's cool. I think it's like a $4.99 app, but I use it for a variety of my photos. It's pretty wild. It works best when you're shooting an outside cloud scene. So if anything has clouds in it, you go to the drama setting, and essentially, which is structure, it's like a high pass type setting. It brings out the clouds, it's crazy. But it's what I was just playing with it. I was playing with a photo from a party last night, and it's really, really, really great app. Anyway,
it's hard to explain it. I mean, it's one of those apps you really got to try because of the way you're editing images is you're actually touching the image and moving your fingers up and down versus just getting a bunch of sliders that you're dragging around. It's a little bit more interactive, and you.
It's my favorite right now for sure. Hey, are you Eric? Did you get Forza yet?
No, I need to get that after I've seen. So Douglas is referring to Xbox Live, which there's a fair group of people that you, especially Google Plus people, that you would see on Xbox Live, and I know Douglas has been playing that racing game, and I need to go pick it up since he's been raving about it.
I'm a grown man, and I am ashamed with the amount of time. Thank God I'm unmarried, but I've wasted a lot of time on Forza. I was up till 3 a.m. last night doing online races, and then I was up till 4 a.m. the night before doing it, because I'll get done with my edits, and then I'll play till 3 or 4.
Dude, my wife plays point for me when I do sniper work in Modern Warfare. She'd be like, no, that bastard, he's over around the corner. I'm like, you saw him? Because I was focusing on somebody else. She's like, yeah, go on and get him. And I'll pop a headshot, and she will just go apeshit. She's like, yeah, eat that, you dirty mother, whatever. And it's like, wow, sweetheart, you sure you want to be a teacher?
That's adorable. That's a love story right there.
Right now, I'm holding out for Skyrim, so that's my thing.
Oh, that's what I'm waiting for too. It's good to know I'm not alone.
What's Skyrim?
It's the 4th or 5th of Elder Scrolls. Oblivion came before, and Morrowind was before that.
It's the 5th.
It's like really is the 5th one, yeah. Really open-ended, like giant world. You can run around and do stuff, and one action affects another, and all that crazy goodness.
Oh wow. That's cool.
I think a lot of us are also on hold for Modern Warfare 3, which I think is like the first or second week of November.
Oh, yes.
Because nothing says family bonding over Thanksgiving like killing each other.
Especially if you have a kid. So like when I first started playing Modern Warfare, my son who's now 6, he was like 3 or 4 at the time. I was like, well, I'll just play. He'll stay downstairs. And so he comes into the room and he's like, Daddy, why are you shooting the school bus? So that's when I was like, all right, from now on, I think we'll wait till he goes to bed.
Oh my God, that's funny. You just scarred him for life.
Yeah, I scarred him for life. Yeah.
If anybody plays, I'm trying to get on with RC and Scott Kelby and Matt. They've been trying to get me to play Call of Duty Black Ops, and I finally got my my Black Ops for Xbox as opposed to PS3. But if any of you guys want to join us or are on either Forza or Call of Duty Black Ops, my Xbox Live name is DS Photo.
Yes.
DS Photo.
I know, it's embarrassing. I actually, when I created my Xbox Live thing like 3 years ago, I look back and I'm ashamed that everything's like photo this or photo that.
That's okay. Matt's name is, I think, the Photoshop guy on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Mine is King of the Blind.
King of the
There
Blind.
There you go. Yeah. I'm blind in my left eye. So,
wow.
So,
Nice.
the saying, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king.
There you go.
I'll write this down. King of the Blind. Just King of the Blind, no spaces, dots, or... Okay.
No spaces, no dots.
Okay, cool. I'll add you.
Post-it notes.
I am Dogmaster on Xbox Live.
I added you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Is that 2 G's?
no, just one G. DOGMASTR. And I would love to know what Julia's Xbox Live handle is.
I don't have Xbox Live.
I'm shocked.
Oh.
That's
Terrible.
Microsoft. Ew.
I'm sorry, the geek meter just went through the roof here. I know.
Yeah, and this is being recorded too, so...
I have PS3 and what's the other one? Wii? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
girls love Wii.
Actually, I don't
I
really
spit
like
on
the
Wii.
Wii.
Sophia will play Animal Crossing for hours. It's kind of like her own personal mental vacation from the rest of us. I'm like, why are you running around, pulling weeds out of other people's gardens? You could go outside and do that in our garden. She's like, don't get me started.
That's great.
If you want to live through the night.
Oh, somebody's getting crazy Facebook. This is terrible. I have my iMessage, my Facebook
Hey,
chat
Deb.
going, my Google Plus, my Twitter.
Hi, Deb.
Now Rob's mentioning Battlefield 3, October 25th. That looks to be another good one. I might have to break down for that as well.
So we were talking about dealing with
Yeah, at
clients.
some point we started talking about clients. Yeah.
Right.
Is this how we deal with clients?
Yeah, this is
Killing
Basically,
people in our spare
Take
time.
out some aggression.
if they don't play
Right.
Xbox, we fire them. That's what it is.
Winston.
Oh gosh.
Okay, well, I got another horror story. You guys can take it for what you will, but there was a nearby country club that wanted to do a membership directory, which if you guys have never done membership directories with a church or with a country club, it's a great way to get your name out in front of a lot of people. But usually what you do is, you get like maybe 200 families or something like that, and you segment out maybe 10 minutes of time, and either they come to your studio or you go to the church or to the country club or whatever, but they show up and do their thing. Well, we had them all come out to our studio, and oh my God, I had this one guy, I think he owned a local gun shop here in Austin, and he just thought he was like, high on the hog. And his wife and his 2 daughters had come, and they were actually here before him, so they were all ready to go. But with kids, I think one was 3, the other one was maybe 7 months. You never know what's going to happen. And so he got there acting like it was the biggest inconvenience for him because it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon and he had some place he had to be. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And of course, he's already angry. His wife's trying to keep everything, nice and smooth. The older daughter, the 3-year-old, starts kind of getting upset because she can tell her dad's pissed off. So she starts getting upset and not wanting to take any pictures. And of course the dad's like, great, this is just what I need, another waste of my time, blah, blah, just going off about all kinds of just whatever. And I'm standing here trying to take the picture, and I was just like, okay, look, if we can just get everybody to calm down, we'll get a nice shot, and then you guys can be on your way. It won't take much longer. I mean, it was at the point where the wife was profusely apologizing for the husband the whole time, and he was just acting like a raving bull the whole time. And I've never, I don't think I've ever had anything like that ever happen before. Of course, I'm just, trying to get through the whole thing, and of course we didn't get any usable pictures because the kids were all upset, the wife was embarrassed, the dad was being a jerk. I don't know if any of you guys ever had a situation like that, or
have you ever had a client OD on set?
No, I think you beat me on that one.
Yeah, painkillers. Yeah, caught him right before a stint before rehab. So that was fun. Had to do a lot of photoshopping of his eyes on a band group shot.
Was he all bloodshot, or were they not even open?
No, they were very droopy. And then I did a photo shoot with the Pretenders, and Chrissy Hines was swearing obscenities at me the entire time. And I just met her 3 seconds previous, and she said, "F this, F you that, bullocks." Pretty much everything in the book. I got about 15 photos off. It was for an iTunes ad campaign for Apple, and she was just screaming at me. I knew I had to get the shot, and immediately upon wrapping, which was 2 minutes later, she apologized. But the entire time, she was swearing that she wanted to kill me.
Wow,
so that was fun.
That reminds me, there was a story that went around with the whole Steve Jobs thing. Somebody had interviewed some of the photographers that shot him.
Yes.
And they interviewed I think one of the guys I think it was this guy that had taken the most shoots of him, or it was one of them, and they were talking about how it was to work with him, and of course he was difficult. And this one story where he went in to go photograph him, and he wanted to shoot him, I think, on the stairs or something like that at the campus, and Steve just lit into him how horrible the images were going to be, that this is a crappy shot, and that all this guy wanted to do, the photographer, was sell magazines. And the photographer basically stood his ground and looked back and said, "And all you want to do is sell computers." And Steve was like, "Yeah, okay, you're right." And so then they went on from there. But it was like, I can't imagine somebody I've done some executive shoots before, but nothing that level of pressure. And I can't imagine feeling every time you go to do that if you're a guy, your manhood's challenged, your skill level, everything about you is going to be challenged.
You're dealing with some pretty big egos, and it's kind of like they have this level of expectation as far as how they're supposed to be treated, but maybe you've never even heard of the person before, or if you have, you just don't know what they're like, off camera, and here you are, you've got to deal with this person who maybe has been having a bad day already, and now it's just getting worse because now they got to sit down and try to look presentable for a picture.
I actually exchanged one email with Steve Jobs regarding doing a portrait for his new biography, and he did respond saying, "Already being taken care of, thanks." But because I used to work for Apple Corporate as a photographer. And it made me wonder when I read this article that I wonder how I would have taken it under the pressure. Because, of course, I was really excited, let alone to get an email back from the boss. But wonder how I would handle the pressure if I actually had to sit down and take a portrait of this guy and he was screaming at me. Although, I guess you kind of get used to it in the entertainment field, that people just yell at you or do things, or show up late, or don't show up, or show up high. But I did wonder about that, and I found that pretty interesting. Let's see if I can find that article that Eric was talking about. Because again, it's like the thing is, when you walk in, a lot of these people, if they're a high-profile figure, I always personally read the Wikipedia article on them or their personality. Like Chrissy Hines, I knew she was afraid of germs. You don't shake her hand, you don't touch her, you don't talk about meat because she's very like full like very much into PETA and everything. But yeah, if you're like shooting one of these CEOs or something like that, do your homework. I mean, you have to. That's really the truth. It's like, if you walk in, you should know Steve Jobs is difficult. Like, check with everybody. Is my recommendation. I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah, too bad they don't have Wikipedia articles on families and brides and.
No kidding. They do. It's called The Knot.
Yeah, no kidding. That's true for some brides.
What's that? What's The Knot?
The Knot. It's a website that's been around for a while where brides can register on there, and they have forums for other brides to talk to each other. Where they can talk about vendors, and they can. A lot of vendors actually pay to be advertised on The Knot. And it was, I don't know, I guess it was out before Facebook was around, so it was kind of a good social forum for brides. But brides could also set up their own personal like wedding site, all that kind of stuff. And actually, one of my friends who used to run a studio here in Austin a while back, they used to do some really high-profile weddings. Her job, she had a partner, and her job was to monitor those forums just to make sure that their brides weren't like talking smack about them behind their backs or other stuff, to basically put out virtual fires if anything popped up on The Knot, because they were getting a lot of their business from there.
Wow, that's scary.
See, I was a naughty 2003.
Yep, a naughty.
She's a bumpy. Oh, wait, no, you're past a bump.
Oh gosh.
A little shout out to Deb who joined our group finally. She got in.
She's been here.
Has she been here before?
She was in here. She's been here for a little while.
What's a naughty?
It's brides that were on The Knot that were registered on there.
I posted a link to that article, by the way, the left side.
There you go, PDM Pulse.
So we were talking about client relationships and all that, but I'm just starting to break out on my own. And do you have any advice on like how to start getting clients? It's not necessarily weddings, but I'm looking more towards like commercial and editorial stuff. Any advice on like how to get clients, or anything you know now that you would have liked to know when you first started?
I mean, that's a whole workshop in itself. I mean, it's really... Where are you based?
4. There you go. Episode 4 right there.
Where are you based?
Right now I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. There's actually some... I've heard some... There is some industry there in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I mean, the best segue into commercial work is editorials, magazine stuff. But I found that early on in the industry changed since I started when I graduated in 2004. But cold calling, certainly messaging magazines, local magazines directly, start off with the smaller magazines and build up with the bigger national ones. Okay. You can actually, I bought lists on Agency Access, which helps when I create email blasts. But if you go into Barnes & Noble and you actually look at the magazine, let me see, hold on. Oh, tripping over my tax paperwork. Hold on. So we have Alt Press here. You go about. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Here you go. This is the masthead page. You may not be able to see that. King of the Blind. I'm kidding, but there's a list of the names of the photo editors and stuff. And even if they don't, sometimes in some magazines they actually have email contacts for the particular person. You want to reach out to the creative director or photo editor. But if you can't reach them or there's no email, there's a main office number listed here. It depends on the magazine. I'm just saying. You'll see like a main number, and if there's no number for the editorial department, you can call the advertising department. They always pick up because they want to sell advertising and go like, oh, hey, I lost a number for editorial. Do me a favor, what's the main number for editorial? And when you get editorial, ask for. They always list the art and production end or the photo editors and that sort of thing, and ask for the photo editor. Some magazines are small, so you just have to hit up the editor-in-chief. But they prefer emails if you can get their email addresses somehow. So you can send like, hey, I'm local, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm a go-getter. Here's some sample of my work. Would love to come in and show you my book or whatever, meet you in person. But that may help.
Todd, something else I suggest on that, and that for me, editorial in Austin it's kind of like been like a big playground for me to try out ideas and build images that I can show other people later. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff came about because I was in locations or putting myself in kind of networking activities with those people. So one of the editors of a local magazine, she and I were on this board of a film group, and we knew each other for probably a year or two before I had an opportunity to shoot for them. So I would definitely do what Douglas is suggesting, and I would also look at, are there events in Milwaukee that you can kind of personalize yourself in front of these people so that they can see that you're a real person, you're not just sending off an email. Because when it comes time for them to need somebody for a photographer, it's going to be who's here right now in front of me to go do this particular shoot. It's very much a kind of like a most recent photographer wins kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Wow. What's going on with that, Deb?
Oh, she's got her camera pointed at us over there. Oh, wait, now she's pointing at her dog? Is that what it is? Yeah.
The dog has a question.
He's like, screw you, I don't care. I'm going back to sleep.
There's mine sleeping in the corner there.
What's his name, Doug? What's your dog's name?
Winston Churchill. Hey, Winston. Wake up. Winston. Wake up.
He's like, no more press. I'm tired of it.
Winston, come here. Come say hi.
He's like, I'm going to eat your face off.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy.
You know what it cost me to come over here, pain-wise?
That was 20 calories.
That was 20 calories.
How am I going to get those back?
Come here, buddy. Come here. Come say hello. Step on my taxes.
Hey, those are due today, right?
Those are due on the 15th. My accountant is fervently finishing up some things for 2010. I wait till the last minute.
So till 4 a.m. playing Forza.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's all my receipts and all my accounting is in my accountant's hands, so it's all on him right now.
That's the thing that Winston was like, look, man, I'm tired. We were up so late playing that stupid game.
Yeah, he was just like very annoyed. He was just like staring at me the entire time, so I would take him to bed because he sleeps in his little doggy bed next to mine. There he goes. He's having a sleepy day. All right, you can go back to bed. It's all right. You can go back to bed. I know you've had enough. What? Anyway, sorry guys, totally.
No problem. Well, we are about 45 minutes into it, so we were thinking of probably wrapping this up. Does anyone else have any particular questions or thoughts before we close down this episode?
This was fun.
Cool. Basically, yeah, we do this every week, guys, noon Central Standard Time on Thursdays, and mostly it's just talking about photography, or like today it's about having a gripe session about clients or whatever. But I think we got a good topic for next week, talking about maybe commercial photography or something.
Yeah,
so
that'd be cool.
But yeah, so we always record these Hangouts, and Eric is nice enough to post them on our YouTube page once they're ready. So make sure to check out our site. I'm going to put it over here in the little window. There we go. All right. Well, thank you.
What's Julia doing? Sorry, I'm totally.
That's the airport.
What am I looking at?
You're in the upstairs area too.
Yeah, it's by the food court.
She's in the captain's lounge.
It's across from gate 12.
Julia gets around.
I do.
Admission is the first step to recovery.
There you go.
All right,
guys. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We appreciate it.
See you all next week, everybody. See y'all next week.
See y'all next week.
Bye.